Hello everyone, it's me, Pilot in Command here. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video. Life has been very busy, but I recently picked this up, and so I figured I would do a first impressions video. So what am I holding in my hand right here? So this is the new HD Zero. It's a new all-in-one. It's the HD Zero Gamma, and I picked this up because my trusty Mamba Diatone Mark II finally died. I have 3 of these. I've had these since 2020, like 2020, 2021. I bought them when I went to Joe Nationals for the first time, and I was basically the only one flying tiny trainers. They were 4S. So anyway, this one, after 5 years, finally died, and I needed a replacement, and then this thing just hit the market, so I figured I would pick it up and give it a try. First things right off the bat, this flight controller is designed for HD quads. There is no analog OSD chip to be found on this thing. It is designed solely for digital. It has built-in an Express LRS UART receiver, not a serial receiver. That's what this is. This is the antenna that comes with it. I'm actually going to be using a slightly longer tracer antenna that I have sitting around here somewhere. I'm going to use this antenna instead because it works. I think it'll work better for the build. I intend to run the antenna off the back with a 3D printed mount that is going right now. This plug right here is designed to fit the new HD Zero Whoop Light V2. This plug is actually longer, but I had to cut it down shorter because unfortunately this plug is going to hit this standoff right here. However, there are UARTs here, so I'm probably just going to solder this thing to the UARTs right here and just not even use the plug, because this will fit in my build. So upon first impressions, as far as like just looking at the flight controller itself, it's very thick PCB. This is the thickness of the Mamba, and as you can see, this one is thicker, so it should be robust. It's got AM32 in it. The processor in it is a STM32G473. I'm just reading off of this right here. So it's a bit more processing power than the old F111 that I'm used to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this flight controller in the build, and then I'm going to put it head to head against my current setup, which is this quad right here, still running a working F11 flight controller, and we are going to see just kind of how this thing performs just by itself and how it compares to this quad. So let me get this thing all built up, and I'll catch back. I'll touch back with you in about 5 seconds. Okay, so this is the new Gamma flight controller installed in my custom tiny trainer. Again, this is my own frame. It's kind of like a tiny trainer V1.5. It's got removable arms. They're a bit stiffer than the tiny trainer V2. I haven't decided if I want to sell this thing. I mean, I do want to sell it, but I actually have a lot of responsibilities right now. So if you guys have any ideas on how I can, if you're interested in this, if there's enough people interested in this thing, then yeah, I'll look at getting it on the market. But anyway, we're not here to talk about this frame. We're here to talk about that flight controller right there. So the Gamma flight controller is inside of this quad. I'll be honest, the video setup isn't great because I've got the receiver antenna right by the transmit antenna, so video's a little sketch, but I've test flown it, and it works. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it alongside this one. So this has my old Mamba F111 flight controller in there. It's just like your standard AIO from back in 2020, 2021. That's how old this thing is. It still works. I wish Mamba still sold it, but whatever. Yeah, we're gonna see how this flight controller compares to HD Zero's all-in-one. So we'll do like one warm-up pack, and then 3 with this one, 3 with this one, and then we'll for pack 6 and 7, we'll switch back and forth between the two, and we'll see what times we get. So get ready for some flight footage and the results coming now. So these are the two best runs of the HD0 Gamma flight controller and the Diatone Mamba V2. And again, both of these quads are built exactly the same. They're using the exact same motor, exact same props, exact same pid tune, exact same filter tune, same rates, etc. The only difference is the flight controller. The HD0 Gamma is running running like the newest version of Betaflight, whereas Diatone Mamba V2 is on 4.5. But again, I've flown both of these on 4.5, the same tune, and this is just the only one that I recorded. But in any case, as you can clearly see, the HD0 Gamma is quite a bit further ahead right off the rip from the Diatone Mamba. One thing I noticed when I was flying the HD0 Gamma is that I was felt a lot easier to get closer to stuff with the HD0 as opposed to the Mamba. And I think it's just because I was feeling the different processor. The HD0 Gamma has a faster processor than the older F411, which I didn't really think much of at first, but when you switch back and forth, you can really tell the difference. The HD0 Gamma just seems like you just throw it into whatever turn you want, whereas with the Mamba, not so much. When you switch from the HD0 Gamma to the Mamba, the quad feels really stiff, almost like its eye gains are a bit higher. So in terms of racing, I think also in freestyle, the HD0 Gamma is going to have a performance advantage over older flight controllers. Another thing I noticed with the HD0 Gamma is that I was getting slightly longer flight times, and I think that's because the HD0 Gamma is running AM32. You have variable PWM, which is going to help with your efficiency. So these times are from each of the flight controller's best run. The program I'm using for the timing system is FPV SimTimer. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to figure out how to show you all of the times across all of the laps on each runs, but I took the fastest lap of each of these runs and just did a top 3 consecutive, and the H0 Gamma was faster than the Mamba V2 by over a second, which is very significant on the racetrack. So not only is the H0 flight controller faster, but it's also more consistent than the Mamba. This was taken from one of the H0 flights, and as you can see, there's 4 times, all within a couple hundredths of each other, which is just really, really amazing. And I think it speaks to the advantage of having a faster processor. I think that's what's really helping with the consistency. Again, I don't really know a whole lot about processing speed, but so if somebody wants to correct me in the comments, please feel free. So the last thing I want to talk about are my ESC settings, which are on the screen now. 2 things I want to draw your attention to. Number one, the ESC firmware that comes on the flight controller. What I have currently flashed is not what came stock on the ESCs. I don't remember what the exact name was exactly, but basically, in order to run the latest and greatest of AM32, you have to flash the H0 Halo F421 firmware to this thing. Now, when you do that, you're going to have to check the box that says ignore MCU layout, but it should work just fine. The other thing is, if you'll notice in the motor tab, I'm running the motors at 1980 kV. And the reason for that is because if you look back through the last couple of videos that I've posted, I was getting some really bad prop wash handling. And after talking with the engineers, because HD0 hasn't released a specific AM32 firmware for this flight controller, and they're using the firmware that's for their 20x20 ESC. The firmware has some weird interactions with this flight controller. And the only way to fix that is to lower the KV to under 2000. So if you use the ESC settings, they're on your screen right now, you should be able to fly with no issues. So if you're looking for a new flight controller to put into one of your 3-inch builds, I do recommend the AC0 Gamma. This thing is designed for digital quads only. It's not designed for analog, so if you're still running analog, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you're running AC0, Walk Snail, DJI, just any digital system for FPV, I definitely think this is worth your time. As far as durability goes, I've crashed this thing plenty of times. My controller is still holding up really strong. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Again, it's a great product from AC0. Thank you all very much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.